Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for attending the official kickoff for 2025 Freedom Week Nevada. I'm extremely honored to be here today to talk to you guys about the vision, the purpose for Freedom Week, and let you guys know some of the other organizations that are involved and also the events that are coming up this week. And to get to this point, it has been an absolute honor to see the community work together in ways that I have personally not witnessed. I've went on random scavenger hunts to find more veteran-owned businesses, and there's more out there that I'm finding every single day. And I really believe that the elements and the events of this week are going to be something that we can not only set our clocks to every year, but it's going to be a way that we can help veterans, specifically veteran entrepreneurs, connect, collaborate, and celebrate veteran entrepreneurship here in Nevada and beyond. Today, here at the official kickoff, I want to talk about some of the organizations that have helped get us here. I want to go a little bit over the history of what we've accomplished both in 2024 and 2025. I do want to share a little bit of vision of what we see for the future, but most importantly, I want to make sure that we highlight some of the veteran entrepreneurs who have showed up today and the organizations that have helped us get here. So when my new friend Sylvia asked me earlier today, how did this whole thing happen? Where did this come from? The story actually goes before 2024. It goes back to 2016. And it's one very important week that has actually helped all of us, many of us, get into this room today. But it started in Tulsa, Oklahoma in circa 2016. There was a guy named Derek Distenfield who was coming to speak at a Wednesday evening event. He was representing an organization called Bunker Labs. And at the time, Bunker Labs was taking a tour around the United States to see which communities would benefit the most from having a chapter for a program specifically to help veterans start and grow businesses. When I heard about Derek Distenfield and I heard the word veteran entrepreneurship in the same sentence, remember, back in 2015, 2016, this wasn't a very hot topic. It was something that there was more challenges in the veteran community than not. So to hear those words resonated with me very deeply. The year before, I had done my first public talk, a TED Talk about my veteran transition from service to civilian life. And I've always seen the passion for veteran entrepreneurship. I've seen it blow up in communities. And when I heard this guy was coming, I was like, we need to show him what Tulsa's all about. So it happened to be the week after 4th of July. And with some guerrilla marketing, I just said, what if we just call it Freedom Week and we host as many events that while this guy's in town to show him what we're all about. He was speaking on Wednesday night. I hosted an event Tuesday evening that was just a networking event to celebrate and talk about veteran entrepreneurship. Wednesday morning, there was an existing program called 1 Million Cups, which is in over 100 communities all around the United States and beyond. And everywhere there's a 1 Million Cups, it's at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. So I had asked the organizers if we could make a special exception to bump the people that were speaking and have 2 veteran entrepreneurs present in their format. And that happened. So they became an official partner of Freedom Week. That night when Derek Distenfield came, we packed the house. I wanted to introduce him to as many veteran business owners as possible. And then the very next evening, I was working in a co-working space similar to the one that we're here at Nevada Partners, and it doubled as a art gallery, and I asked if we could open the Freedom Gallery to 2 veteran artists. So that completed the series of events for Freedom Week. The new mayor, who had just been elected earlier that year, he showed up at most of the events, and that created a lot of positive opportunity for Bunker Labs to really consider, is Tulsa, Oklahoma, one of the candidates for a startup chapter? It was not, for whatever reason, but as it would work out, I later moved to Las Vegas only 2 years later, and one of the first people that I met here was Mario Mitchell, and together we stood up the very first chapter of Bunker Labs in pre-pandemic 2019 October. And I remember when we did our second event, In February of 2020, it was we'll see you next month, and then of course we all know what happened there. Since that time, I have seen the veteran entrepreneur community in Las Vegas and beyond do some very remarkable things. And I would say the most remarkable thing that I've seen this community do is work together. In so many cases, there's so many organizations that can conflict with each other's mission or have challenges. But one thing that I've seen time and time again is when it comes to the veteran entrepreneur community, we always figure out a way. Sometimes it's setting our egos aside and meeting for lunch and sitting down, for lunch or dinner and just trying to figure out what is it exactly that you're doing, and how can we work together. In that time, I've watched Bunker Labs come through this community. I've watched Warrior Rising come through this community. I've watched Vets in Tech come through this community. And in each one of those organizations, we've all stepped up, we've all participated, and we've all done everything that we can to get the right resources to veterans, whether they're doing great in their post-service life or whether they might be struggling. So the whole idea for Freedom Week when it began last year was really just a way to capture that essence and reignite that opportunity. As the state coordinator for Global Entrepreneurship Week, one of the things that we have faced as a challenge is Global Entrepreneurship Week is 40,000 events all around the world in 1 week in November. It happens to be the same week, coincidentally, over the last 2 years and now the third year, it falls the same week as F1. While we're celebrating all entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, Latin entrepreneurs, Asian American entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, Encore entrepreneurs, all of the organizations that support entrepreneurship, that's a global initiative that happens all around the world. But in this community, we're faced with road closures, construction. So to be really honest, the idea of bringing Freedom Week back to life last year was simply to kickstart that conversation earlier, but I wanted something that could be led by veterans and we could lead it in a way that the rest of the community would not only benefit from, but ideally I hoped that it would be something that would catch on in other communities where they struggle with different challenges for Global Entrepreneurship Week. So last year we put 6 or 7 events together on the calendar. One of the biggest opportunities that we accomplished last year was we opened the Veteran Entrepreneur Library. And I'll do my best to not get overly emotional, but books have been probably the most powerful thing in my life after the military, because they've helped me connect with more like-minded people. They've helped me learn the skills to build businesses and help people scale and grow their organizations, not only as my business, but also in the volunteer work that I've done for Bunker Labs and the way that I connected people to other resources. But this became a book drive. All of the events for last year became a book drive. And with the help of Nevada partners, we were able to, and some of the partners that stepped up and framed out this beautiful library that you see today, we opened the first Veteran Entrepreneur Library. And that was probably one of the best moments of my life. Definitely one of the best moments since I've lived here in Las Vegas. And in only 6 short years, that was the greatest accomplishment for me personally and professionally. I'm really excited to say that this year, the second Veteran Entrepreneur Library opens in Reno. So to our partners and friends in the North, Lourdes Madrigal, who's also stepped up as the community organizer for Global Entrepreneurship Week, with the Nevada's Veteran Business Outreach Center, they're going to be opening up the second library. And now the world is watching. In both instances, both last year and this year, I've been able to speak about this at Global Entrepreneurship Congress, which is an international organization with delegates from all around the world. I was very grateful to be joined this year by Shaq and Melissa from the Nevada's Governor's Office of Economic Development, the Entrepreneurship Office, and they were able to personally witness us representing what we're doing here in Nevada, and it's already begun to catch fire in other communities. So as it stands right now, this week we also have Philadelphia, who's going to be hosting an event under the brand of Freedom Week on Thursday, coincidentally through the Vets in Tech chapter. at the same time that we're hosting our event with Vets in Tech here in Las Vegas. The future for that means now there are 5 communities that have found us through Global Entrepreneurship Network: Atlanta, Philadelphia, Tulsa, Austin, and Denver, who are now all committed to wanting to be part of and host Freedom Week in their communities in 2026. So none of that would be possible without the organizations that have stepped up, that have volunteered their time to really make this a reality. So now there's programming that's designed here at Nevada Partners, and I'll be bringing up Elias to talk a little bit about their dedication both to Veteran Entrepreneur Library, Freedom Week, and beyond. But the true essence here is that we as veterans have the skills to be successful in business. It really takes finding the right mentors, finding the right organizations to support us, and creating collision points just like this where we can connect, where we can collaborate, and we can celebrate what we're all capable of. I truly believe that we all took the oath to defend our country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Well, now it's our opportunity and responsibility to rebuild it. And I believe that the best way that we can rebuild that is to create for-profit organizations to support non-profit organizations and continue to build on the legacy that our four founders built this country on. And it's very poetic in a sense that next year is America's 250th birthday. And when I ask people, do you know when America's birthday is? Some people, they don't get it, but it was this last week. It's 4th of July. The 4th of July is our birthday, and next year is our 250th birthday. What better way for us to represent that as veteran entrepreneurs, but to continue to carry a torch through that following week in multiple communities across the United States. So together in other communities, they can connect, they can collaborate, and they can celebrate what they're doing in their communities as well. So with that being said, there are a whole list of program events that are happening officially this year. Today is the absolute kickoff. We have a great panel discussion that we'll be doing after I bring up a few partners for key remarks. But after that, later this evening, we do have Vet Talks, which is essentially its creation. It's to take the idea of TED Talks, but specifically for the veteran community. After I had the honor and privilege of doing a TEDx talk, over the years, that was 10 years ago, I've learned there's over 233,000 talks that have been absolutely officially recorded under the TEDx brand. And there's no idea, it's not clear how many of those are veterans. Unfortunately, I heard of a veteran here in the community who had applied to create a whole TEDx event specifically for veterans, and unfortunately, that license was denied. TEDx has their own format, one that is very well respected, as do some other organizations like Disrupt HR, that is a very focused effort in the HR community. I saw an opportunity and responsibility, as I often do, to create Vet Talks to give a platform and a microphone to hear the voice of our veteran community. This is for veterans. This is by veterans. And the idea is that it's 8 minutes, 8 slides, and it's one simple call to action that will create change in our community, both here locally and beyond. So that's the second event. We had an unofficial workout event yesterday, so a super shout out to David Lonergan and everyone over at the Triple Threat Transformation. It was a community workout and a potluck, so great way to build camaraderie to kick everything off. And then tomorrow, on Tuesday, we have a standing meeting that happens every week, and it's to highlight a local veteran-owned business. The actual official Freedom Week headquarters is at the Leatherneck Club. We wanted to support a veteran-owned business, but it's also a historical museum with all kinds of artifacts from all branches of service, but you're going to see a lot of Marine stuff. That's an event called Office Hours. It's an open networking 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. event where people can connect, collaborate, and celebrate the things that we're doing as well. If you're catching that theme here, it was written with a lot of intention. Thursday, another big event is going to be at VetCap. That's with our partners through the founding organizations that are part of Freedom Week is Vets in Tech. This is a panel discussion specifically to talk about how veterans can get funding. So there'll be a few panelists that talk about traditional bank loans, business credit, venture capital, bootstrapping, and even crowdfunding or grants. So a great way for everyone to connect there. That's going to be with their partners at DraftKings over at Uncommons. So that's last year was our first flagship event for that. We had about 150 people, and we suspect it'll be a little bit bigger this year. So that's one that you definitely want to mark your calendars for. And then on Friday, we have the official after party for Freedom Week, celebrating another veteran-owned business that just opened. It's actually operated by an active duty Air Force person here at Nellis and her husband. So he's the military spouse. But they just opened a grand launch about 3 weeks ago, and this will be the first big after party for Freedom Week to celebrate another veteran-owned business. There will be a private event that's an invite only. It's also listed on some of the places where we have all the information. It's called Sacred Soldier. That is a plant medicine private retreat specifically for veterans. I've actually attended 2 of those, and because it is ran and operated by a veteran, the programming is absolutely incredible, and I wanted to give space for them to promote and show what they're doing in the veteran community as well. So those are all of the formal events. If you're looking for any information on that, you can find everything across Eventbrite. I do have a link tree of all the events on my website at davemeansbusiness.com. But past that, I would like to honor a few of the different organizations that have been very instrumental in helping Freedom Week keep going. And first, our host today, I'd like to bring up Elias Benjaloon with Nevada Partners, and he's got a few words that he'd like to share about what they're doing here before we dig into a few other honored guests, and then we'll jump into the panel.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Great. It's wonderful to see so many folks. Thank you so much, Dave. My name is Elias Benjaloon, and like Dave shared, I'm the entrepreneur in residence here at Nevada Partners. I met Dave about 6 years ago or 5 years ago, right in the middle of COVID. And the reason why we hit it off so much is because Dave's one of those guys who doesn't go around and ask people what they could do for him, but he goes around and asks people in organizations what he can do for them. And he's really embodied that spirit, like many of the veterans that are in the room here today that have worked with us at Nevada Partners in this ecosystem that are all about service and how they can support one another. I just want to thank you, Dave, and honor you for that. Here at Nevada Partners, we have a variety of different programming. As you can see at the building, it's labeled the Community Learning Center. And so we offer a ton of different resources to the public of all ages, including in this room. This is our co-working space. It's a free co-working space that we offer to the public. And so if you are a small business owner and you need a space to connect, I think that's one of the common themes is how can we connect with one another. Entrepreneurship can be lonely. And from the veterans I speak to, coming out and being a veteran can be a lonely experience as well. And so we really wanted to create a space where people can connect and collaborate with one another. And so I just want to share that as a free resource to everybody here. We also, just for everybody's awareness, we do a lot of tech education programming here, including laptop, how to use a laptop. Sometimes we can give away laptops to the public. We've got laptops available for checkout here. And then we do tons of entrepreneurship programming. We do a conference on the first Saturday of every month. This past Saturday, even though it was July 5th, we do one here. And I got to tell you, the recording is going to be live on YouTube. We had Mr. Bob Daniel come and teach a class here. He's 78 years old. He's out here just running and gunning, still teaching, built a multi-million-dollar company, multiple amazing contracts. And so the reason why I share his story, because he's also a veteran. There's many veterans who've got a lot of energy and resources to contribute. And we want to be that space for you guys. So if you want to host a class here, if you want to teach anything that you think can help position your business and also help create connection in this community, come talk to me. Be more than happy to enroll you here. Talk to Dave, and we'll love to have you come host here at the Veteran Entrepreneur Library. And with that said, I'll pass it back to you, Mika.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
He'll even build you a library if you ask him. Just kidding. Don't want to throw you under the bus like that. Awesome. We also have, what's that? Oh, thank you. We also have an incredible guest here from Congresswoman Susie Lee's office. love to invite you up, sir. Please tell us who you are and your guys' commitment to the things that we're doing here. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. So my name's Joe Woods. I'm from the Office of Congresswoman Susie Lee. I'm the Green and Gold Fellow, so I'm a veteran myself, airborne infantry with the 173rd. So I like to keep my speeches short and sweet. I just wanted to say how proud we are of the veteran community out here in Las Vegas, from everything that they do with veterans to everything they do with non-veterans out here. It's the closest knit community that I've had the pleasure of working with, and we just wanted to go ahead and present some certificates today of appreciation and thanks and recognition for all the things that you do here.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Who do we got here?
All right.
Ooh, we have Nick. He didn't even know.
Got one for you, Nick.
Have you jump in on this side? Oh, there we
Very
go.
much.
We can do
If I
it.
just put
Yeah,
this
we
one
can put
down,
that there.
Right there. Okay. All right. That's good for that. Thank
Perfect.
you so much, Nick. We appreciate it. All right. We have one for Reggie.
Reggie coming in
Come on
all
up
the
here
way
for
from Warrior Rising.
That was a surprise.
There you go. Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. All right. We have another one for Nick, actually. This one's for Project Vanguard. Oh, yes, sir.
Double.
Yeah, right?
There you go. Thank you very much. All right, and this one is for our very own Dave Berlin.
Love it. Thank you.
Okay.
There we go.
Perfect. Thank you so much,
That's
man.
right.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
We appreciate it, and again, thank you for all that you do for our veteran community. Thank you.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
You're crying, thank you.
You're crying. It's making me. Oh, we're live? My bad. I'm just kidding. No, thank you again, everyone, for so much for your continued support. Now, really to kick off this week, right? I would love to invite Reggie and Nick up to take the stage. This is a very powerful conversation, but also a very relaxed conversation as well. There's all kinds of opportunities for keynotes, presentations, and slides and stuff like that. But today I really just wanted to have a candid conversation about some of the things that you guys are doing in the community, but also how that impacts Las Vegas and beyond, because there's more and more organizations that continue to pop up. But here in Las Vegas, you start to see the same characters they're carrying the weight for all these organizations. So definitely want to give a shout out to Nick. But first, we'll start with introductions. Reggie the man, tell us who you are and all about you, my friend. Yep.
Thanks for having me, Dave. Thanks, everybody. Reggie Ordonez, lead the programs at Warrior Rising. Marine Corps veteran, served from 2004 to 2016. Iraq, Afghanistan, Haiti, infantry by trade. Went on to study in Nashville at Belmont University, social entrepreneurship. Got my MBA from the University of Arizona and started a company, Ford Brands, where I work on brand strategy with founders. All that to say, I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up, and it was programs like these that kind of helped me find my way. So always education. I'm really inspired by the books because there's a lot of power in books. There's a lot of power in education and critical thinking skills and all these different things that come into the fold, and that's so important to bring that to the fold into these programs that we have, because we have to show up and put in what we expect to get out. And I'll pass it over to Nick.
Love it.
Mark Tachi, started out in the Marine Corps, finished my career CH-47 pilot, and from there got into a lot of different renewable pieces. My mechanical engineering degree, Embry-Riddle, data analytics certificate from Harvard Business School, and then got into a lot of different programs here within the Las Vegas area, having come through Warrior Rising as an end user as well. Glad to be able to be a part of the organization to give back, help out veterans. Also helping other veterans get into renewable energy careers through another nonprofit of mine, Infinite Fidelis Consulting, and then also being the Nevada representative for Project Vanguard, so helping veterans get into renewable energy careers as well. So again, always being able to help out with paying it forward or giving back.
Love it. Love it. Thank you guys for sharing that. Again, this isn't a super formal, not a spelling bee by any means, anything where there's certificates here. Really, I hope to elaborate on some of the work that you guys are doing and get to a level of truth and understanding of what Warrior Rising is, why is it different, and then what are some of the programming that you guys are really focused on right now, and tell us how all that plays into the greater mission for Warrior Rising.
All right, so I'll answer all that. And then, what I'll do is I'll hand the mic over to Nick, since Nick went through our programs to kind of give that. So Warrior Rising started in 2015. A man named Jason Van Camp, former Green Beret, a successful entrepreneur. And really what it came down to was he wanted to take everything that he learned in business and distill it, because he saw a lot of his friends that wanted to start businesses that didn't necessarily have the hard skills required to do that, but they had the drive and all the soft skills that came from a life of service, in the United States military. And he got more and more people that were coming to him asking him for his help. And then he realized, I'm about to just start something, and that's how Warrior Rising was born. That's kind of the short version of that, but that is how it started. He started doing that by taking the 5-paragraph order in the United States military and breaking it down into, this is how I'm going to teach business to someone that doesn't necessarily understand business yet, to give them the skills to start. And so to this day, that program still exists. It's called Warrior Academy. It's 40 on-demand modules. You could sign up at warriorrising.org right now and hear from the founder, Jason Van Camp, and go through that at your own pace, on your own time. Whenever you enroll, you're automatically put on our mailing list, and we send you emails for our coaching calls and our master classes. So once a month, we have a coaching call. It's on the third Wednesday of the month, and that's where myself and a couple others from the organization will answer calls in the order received. And we get a lot of great questions. We give a lot of good answers. I like to think we give good answers. Check us out on Google reviews, 249 5-star reviews, So I think we're doing okay. That's not to say I definitely don't know everything, but definitely will try to find the right answer or plug you in with somebody that does. We also have a master class every month for everyone that's enrolled in Warrior Academy. And that's a deep dive on a special topic. Some of the topics could be marketing, sales, finance, operations, but we're going to bring in a subject matter expert to talk about those things. So when you're enrolled in Warrior Academy, 40 on-demand modules, at the same time, you're staying connected with us by attending the monthly coaching calls and master classes. Whenever you move on from that, we have Warrior University. And Warrior University is 8 weeks long. We actually kick off our third of the year tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. So we'll do that 4 times a year. It's 8 weeks, and we take everything that we taught in Warrior Academy and we put it back into business speak. So we're actually going to talk about things now in a way that you would launch a business. We have people joining that program that are over $1 million in sales, all the way to someone that's just starting. And you might be asking yourself, like, Reggie, how the heck do you do that if it's not focused? I'm a firm believer in, like, we're giving the concepts for you to apply where you are at that time. So hopefully you learn something about what we're teaching in a way that helps you apply it to your business tomorrow. That's the hope. Of those numbers, or of Warrior University, I'm going to open up pitch applications at that time. So you have to have an 80% attendance rate. You have to show up. We ask you on the application, like, you have to commit to attending these calls, and completing this program. If you do that, then I'm going to give you an opportunity to pitch. We do 4 to 5 pitch competitions a year, and the grand prizes are anywhere from $20,000 all the way up to, we gave $150,000 at Salt Lake City last year, and that's non-dilutive capital. So we're not taking a percentage of it. There's no strings attached. We've already vetted you, with your pitch application. So we're giving that money to the entrepreneur, no strings attached. So let me give you the numbers real quick. Right now we're averaging 143 applications a week for Warrior Academy. Of that, we're going to have about 250 that will apply to Warrior University, and we'll probably have about a third of that actually commit to it. Of that, I look at about 60 pitch applications a quarter, and I'm going to select 8 to 12 of that. So I want you to do the math on this. 140 applications a week, but I'm selecting about 32 to 40 people to pitch. So a lot of people, there's a carrot there, right? Like, I'm going to go through these programs to pitch. I hope that I get to pitch. But I always am a firm believer in saying, like, I really hope that what you hear from this, I hope that you could see where you started and where you end up, even if you don't get the opportunity to pitch. You're going to be 10 times better than you were when you started this process, and the opportunity to pitch as it comes down the road later. So that's the big thing. And you don't necessarily always have to win the pitch competition to be one of the top companies that continue with us. Nick's a good example of that. And I'm going to actually pass the mic to Nick now because he could talk about that experience. I know the process has changed a little bit since you went through, but feel free.
I think it would also be great, Nick, not only to share your experience going through the program, but also why you raised your hand to lead the chapter here as well and be involved on the ground here.
Going through the program, I'll answer both of those for you, sir. Going through the program was actually educational, and I love the way that they explain things similar to how you explained, where Jason broke down the military speak, brought it to the business world. Having gone through a lot of different business courses in college and things of that nature, I had to go through all of these pieces feeling like I was a man on an island, and really starting to deep dive and study a little bit extra, if you will, to understand what it is they're trying to convey to me and make me pick up those pieces. The way that the deliveries are for Warrior Rising to even a veteran that's just getting out, breaks it down, as we say, Barney style, and makes things very, very simple to understand, and makes it so that you have immediate actionables from those lesson plans of how, not literally to fix everything, but little bits at a time, make a tweak here, make a tweak there, and make those actionables impactful to your business, whether, again, like you said, you're in the beginning phase or you're somewhere scaling and adding to it. And it was those pieces that allowed me to morph when I never knew how to write a business plan properly. A lot of it I Googled. And going through Warrior Rising, it helped me make those appropriate pivots with my business plan, and I still now continue, and I let it be a living document that I'm constantly manipulating and adjusting and striving for something better. But it made those pieces more interactive and actionable, as opposed to just, here's a great idea, if that makes sense. And I mean, to your point, you don't have to win to still get value out of it. I say I lost. I got actually selected to go do a business shower. I won the first room, but then when you go to the final panel, I lost. I was fourth out of 4 people, but I mean, ultimately, I lost to chocolate. So I mean, how do you? It's like, I mean, I mean, it's like, okay, cool, but no, it's hard to beat chocolate, man. Yeah. And so, no, I mean, it was a great learning experience. I took a lot from it. And the why I raised my hand was I knew that if somebody like myself gained so much from it, and just that one experience of the business shower, whether you get selected, like you said, for it or not, there is so much value in every aspect of both the online course and then now with the local Vegas platoon, the ability to help mentor those behind me is the biggest piece, and show them the value of not only Warrior Rising, but of the community here in Vegas as well, of what we can do to empower each other.
I love that. I love that. Thanks for sharing. Reggie, when it comes to, you've got to witness the growth of Warrior Rising coming in a little bit later, but you've also been on the ground for some of these new chapters up. What's your vision, both you and the organization? What do you see that vision for growth, and what's the strategy and plan to break into these new markets?
That's a great question, and thank you for asking that, because that's a big deal to us. So, I heard people talking about entrepreneurship as a team sport, and it definitely is. It's also a contact sport. It's my man Mike Stedman always says that business is a contact sport, but it's really about three things, and this is all research. Yada yada. Research is great, but now we need to actually apply it. The three biggest barriers to entrepreneurship for veterans and military spouses are resources, networks, and access to capital. So when any time that it's, how am I going to take national level resources at the Warrior Rising level and the national level and ensure that I'm hitting the pockets where people actually live, where people actually are going to do commerce every single day, where they have to build relationships with people, where they actually have to get out of the building and go talk to people and rally around the support of a community that's already there. What does that look like? So when Warrior Rising came up to me and they're like, hey, we really want you to take the lead on ensuring that we can get to these places where our veterans and military spouses are. And it's like, thank you. I'd love to do that. So Las Vegas is a good blueprint for this. The things I look for is who's already here, who's already doing great work. Because Warrior Rising will not come in and just bully our way in and just be like, hey, we're here now, everybody. Because that's just not how it works. It doesn't work like that. We got to work by, with, and through our partners. So I've been in Vegas a lot this year, and it's really just been to see who's on the ground, where we need to be, and the relationships that are already here, who's already doing good work. And my goal is to ensure that we pour national level resources into the local community by working by, with, and through the local community. And so it takes a village to be able to accomplish those things. And so what I'm looking for is the support. Obviously, the number of veteran military spouse entrepreneurs here that are looking for that support. And what do we need to fill in those gaps? Because every entrepreneur organization, if you look at them that are thriving, they have a great local chapter. I mean, look at EO, Entrepreneurs Organization. One of the best organizations, one of the best chapters in the nation is actually Nashville's. And so I look at that and it's like, yes, EO as a national organization is great, but the Nashville chapter is what makes it thrive. So that is the vision. Vision is to go into cities where there's an appetite for veteran entrepreneurship. There's people that actually want to start and grow businesses, and there's partners already in the areas doing the work but need some more support to help rally the community. And that's what we want to do. That's what we want to provide. And we're going to do that not just with monthly events, but we have an event called First Round where we're really focused on bringing the right people in the room to make sure that you have the right connections to grow your business, because it's about your network. You left the biggest network you'd ever known when you left the service, and it's time to build your network.
A quick follow-up question to that. Thank you for sharing. Specifically, what cities have you guys created a footprint in, and which cities do you see kind of in the short-term or long-term future?
I'll give you three. How's that? So we are in Vegas and Phoenix. That was our first two. The goal this year was to have three. We're already at two. Vegas and Phoenix, I feel confident in saying we're here. I have my eye on Houston. I have my eye on Tampa. And I do have my eye on Nashville right now. Those are three. There's a lot more people that are calling right now. The phones are ringing. And everyone's like, we want to bring Warrior Rising to our city. And it's like, okay, that's great. But I got to make sure that I could see the community. I got to make sure that I got to go in for all the things that we're talking about. Because we all know that discipline is what endures, motivation fades. And so do we have the right infrastructure there to be able to thrive?
Love that. Thank you. Nick, the question for you is, knowing and understanding the larger vision and the footprint that Warrior Rising is already starting to create, I want to talk a little bit about Las Vegas, and we're also going to go into the Project Vanguard and how that dovetails into your operation, but very specifically on the overall entrepreneurship network here, as it pertains to you holding that seat and being part of Warrior Rising, very much a veteran entrepreneur organization. What do you see as the biggest challenge for entrepreneurs in Southern Nevada?
That's a hard one. Thanks for the hard one. Well, I think I don't think it's going to be Vegas centric. I think for any veteran, it's what doesn't know you that kills you. And so, and access to resources and the knowledge of those that came before you, if you will, a how-to. How do I find a roadmap to be able to follow, and things of that nature? Again, this is where Warrior Rising Academy actually helps you to build that business plan and actually understand where we use terms like defilade and things where you can't see spaces because you can't see that obstacle in your way that you don't even know to look for yet. People always know, hey, I need money. What else do I need? There's always and then, if you will, in business, because I mean, just getting your business license and then either setting up an online service, or if you're going brick and mortar, tailoring whatever business it is you have to that is what really is some of the difficult points. For example, myself, I knew of how to build certain pieces of my training programs that I do. I didn't know how to construct the deliverables for all of the marketing pieces all the time. I knew how to engage with certain businesses I already knew. It's a matter of how to engage with businesses I don't know and that don't know I exist. And it's that piece of, like you said earlier, with guerrilla marketing and things of that nature. How do I get my name out there? The old, if you build it, they will come kind of a thing. How do I make sure they come? If that makes sense. And so that for me was one of the biggest pieces that I knew that when coming into Warrior Rising, I wanted to make sure to be able to show people, hey, look, this is where even I stumbled and failed. And this is a roadmap of how I figured some of my pieces out. And you can Tony Stark it, if you will, and use it as a framework to build off.
Love that. Love that. Now, keeping with you, very specific to your industry, how did you get involved in Project Vanguard? What is it? And then how does that pertain to your business? And then I'll have a question past that.
Well, Project Vanguard really simply is a initiative that helps out veterans with getting into renewable energy careers, not always as a technician, but also, I mean, a lot of us come out with logistics skills, HR, managerial skills, things of that nature. It can be program and PM managers. And so there are a series of different aptitudes for each individual to be able to get into the field. And so what Project Vanguard really wants to be able to do is, one, help those transition into a great paying job and a career, but also be there as a resource. And again, this is where I think I got tapped because of all the initiatives I was already utilizing with IFC, my nonprofit, to do that exact same thing, and then also track those pieces. And so being able to tap me and also push that, and then now be able to be responsible for all of Nevada to help veterans getting into renewable energy careers, that is a big plus, especially when renewable energy, whether you're talking wind, solar, hydro, geothermal, whatever it is that you're speaking to, this is an industry for the next 20 to 30 years that's going to take care of an individual and give them a true career to be able to springboard onto and launch into. The part where I got tapped for Warrior Rising's pieces is I was on a call, and one of the concerns was, okay, well, what happens when a transitioning veteran wants to be an entrepreneur and a business owner within renewable energy? Well, I mean, Yahtzee, I already fit that mold. And so I let them know, hey, we got to connect this to Warrior Rising, because any of these individuals that are coming through that want to be a business owner or be an entrepreneur in this section and they don't know the how-tos, they definitely need to plug into Warrior Rising. And so that's where I was happy to be that bridge and be able to create that network for them. And to springboard off of what Reggie's already said is, we already have access to one of the world's largest networks, just being a veteran in the military and our veteran services. We need to make sure that we connect and plug those in properly.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you for wearing multiple hats in the community. I know not only as a business owner, there's a set of challenges there. helping support and run as the guy on the ground here for a program like Warrior Rising. That takes time and energy, but also to dovetail that into a way like Project Vanguard, where you can now very much specifically support and accelerate one specific industry. That's the power of niching that energy down, but you're carrying that torch across multiple platforms. So thank you for that. Back to Reggie on this one. Reggie, I know you talked about some of the different programs and stuff that are available. I would really love to hear a few stories of anyone who came in with a specific opportunity, but also maybe a specific challenge, and a way that some of the programming or something at Warrior Rising has helped them overcome that or accelerate.
There's a few people that I have in mind. And I'll also talk about the shortcomings just because I like to keep it real.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's people that need more, and outside of the program and the way that the program's designed, it's like this program specifically will not give you that, and it's one-on-one time at a certain stage in their business where it takes actually execution. It takes you actually doing the work. But what I love when I think of all the success stories that we've had in my time here, and even before Warrior Rising, just because I've been in this community doing this work since 2018, it's always going to be a matter of I'm going to lean into everything that I'm getting, but I am going to apply it. Mm-hmm. And I need to know and have enough of my own intuition and judgment to know when it's time to pivot. And that's such a catchy entrepreneurship word. It's time to pivot, or it's time to go all in. There's also seasons in life, where it's like, hey, now is not the time for me to be starting a business. My dream didn't die, but let's just be real. This is not the time. Yeah. If you have a crit score that's a 500 and you don't have any equity in your home or anything to actually get your business up and running, and you need some sort of prototype to actually get revenue, it's not the time. Because none of these programs are going to say, yeah, we're going to be able to get you a business loan that's not a title loan at that rate. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let's just be honest. And so I think that people that are the most successful, they come in with understanding what they're up against and where they need to be in order to maximize the program. And because the program is there and it's designed for you to succeed, but it's not designed for you to not work. So everybody puts in the work. I'll say that. And I think that there's always a piece where this comes down to, are entrepreneurs born or are entrepreneurs made? That always seems to be the question. And I believe that anyone can be taught. So I don't believe that entrepreneurs are born. I think entrepreneurs are made. Everybody needs to be taught, and people take advantage of the situations that they're in, utilize those key things to glean from and learn from and put into practice. So does the program help you with those things? No, it doesn't. What we will do is put you on a trajectory to reward you if you're putting in that work. Mm-hmm. And I think that's with every program. This is a path, and sometimes you have to be in a position to maximize that path. And if I can't do that, I want to be able to point you to a resource that can. I think I'm going to name drop. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable name dropping, but that's okay. I look at, there's a couple that won our Salt Lake City Business Shower last year, Gabe and Lindsay Chrisman. And they came to the program. They won the Salt Lake City Business Competition. That was $150,000 that completely changed the trajectory of their company. And now they're like, we just want to give back to Warrior Rising. So they come and help me with pitch prep. They show up to help me judge or do other things. and they're very invested in the program. But sometimes I'm like, would they have been successful without Warrior Rising? The answer is probably yes. But were we a big part of that trajectory in their growth? I have no doubt, yes, we were. They met a lot of people in the room. They put in the work. They vetted people. And here's a question I always want to turn around and flip the script on. If you won a pitch competition tomorrow for $20,000, would it change your life? Would you be able to seize that moment, or would you squander that opportunity? People win the lottery and then they're broke 2 years later. So I just want to, it's a sobering thought, right? But there's people that donate to Warrior Rising so we could do this work. And we have to be good stewards of the resources that we're given, just like you have to be good stewards of the resources that you may earn through Warrior Rising. So loaded question, loaded answer, but hopefully it makes sense.
It does. And I appreciate you sharing those successes. One of the biggest challenges that I see in just the entrepreneurial community is, I call this the Shark Tank generation. The Shark Tank generation we've watched for many years. We've seen all of these powerful stories where someone's got to go up and pitch, and Mark Cuban or one of those people say yes. A lot of times people don't see and understand what it took for them to get there. They don't see the deal get chopped up in the back of the room. They don't see what happens later. Sometimes they'll do the callback episode, but many of the times it looks like, if I have a good enough idea, somebody's going to write me a check for $1 million and that's game over. But that is absolutely not. That is not what genuinely happens. So knowing and understanding that you guys have had people come in of different challenges, but also had great success, I feel like you guys are kind of, you have the opportunity to create the next round of superstars of people that we can edify and put on a higher platform. So thanks for sharing that very specific example, because I think you'll see more to come as more people find out what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Nick, for you, if you had one piece of advice to give a veteran that is looking at starting a business, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give?
Well, I think I've given this one many a time, and it's short and sweet and impactful, but make sure whatever business that it is you are starting is a true business and not really expensive hobby. A lot of times people will think to themselves, hey, I like this. I think this is fun. Everybody else will. I'm going to pour some of my blood, sweat, tears, and money into it, and then it folds up because it wound up just being an expensive hobby. So whatever it is, whether you are first to market or second, there's advantages to being not first to market. I forget the book, but to quote it, there's a difference between being a pioneer and a buccaneer. And I always prefer to be a buccaneer. Pioneer is the first person to come through and beat that path down, but they're also taking all the arrows to the chest, right? There are so many opportunities missed by them. The buccaneer will come out behind them and take advantages of all of those opportunities missed because the pioneer was beating the path down, and they can see all of the mistakes made. So there is a major advantage to not always being first to market and understand how to learn from someone else's mistakes is a huge advantage. So seeing where somebody else has walked paths similar to what you're trying to walk down and learning from those mistakes. So making sure that, again, the first biggest one is making sure that it is a business and not an expensive hobby.
I love that. I'm passed the same question over to Reggie. As you've not only have you started many organizations, you've really been in that role to see a lot of people go from start. What would be the best piece of advice that you have for a veteran specifically who's looking at starting and growing a business?
I'm gonna give an unorthodox answer. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. This is a very hard thing to do. You can't just grit your way through it. I think that's the hardest part. In the military, if you have blisters on your feet, your soles of your boots are falling off. You You could be determined to finish and you'll finish. That's not how it works in entrepreneurship. You can do that and still never reach the finish line because your own grit, determination, and resolve, definitely that has something to do with it. But it's not about you, it's about what the customers want. And so hopefully you're following a path on that and not just on what you want. But in that process, you're going to work late. You're going to put in a lot of hours. You're going to question yourself all the time. Is this worth doing? Am I just wasting my time? It comes in ebbs and flows where you'll get a $12,000 deal done in a contract and you're delivering on it the next day. And then it's dry for some time and you're questioning everything. And if you should just stop and just go get a job. So you have to take care of yourself. You have to be focused. You have to give your attention. Don't do too much at once. Like stay focused on things that compound over time. And you just have to be smart with what you eat, what you drink. Take care of yourself and make sure that you unplug a little bit. Make sure you read a fiction book from time to time. Make sure you spend time with your wife and your kids and make sure that you are like a good human being, you know? I say all that because it's very important. Like if you drift a fraction of a percent over 10 years, you're not going to be recognizable to the person that you wanted to be, you know, which is hopefully a good person, you know, but like business can be frustrating sometimes and you feel like you got to put it in like full throttle all the time and you'll burn out, you know? So just take care of yourself and then apply what Nick is saying once you're taking care of yourself.
I love that. As we begin to close, I have two final questions for each of the panelists, and you can start and we can pass back over, however you prefer. As we're sitting here with the incredible backdrop of the Veteran Entrepreneur Library, what is the one book that that had the most impact in your entrepreneurial journey, whether it be one that you know grabbed you by the soul when you first got involved, or something that you've read recently, but what is one book that you really believe can bring a lot of power to somebody at where they may be in their business?
You have one off the top of your head?
I do. I'm going to try to censor myself, but I started before I even really knew what business I was going to do. The wife and I, from time to time, would watch Bar Rescue. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's still my swan song to own a bar later on a beach and just watch the sunset, and that's my end game. But John Taffer wrote a book that says it's titled "Do Not BS Yourself," and it's not a thick book, but it is a lot of impactful pieces that create actionables for you, and to your point, keep you disciplined. And it's never, basically a point is never lie to yourself, and how to actually pivot in certain points and keep things on the straight and narrow, and where you should never compromise. And it's very impactful. Like I said, it's about that thick, and it's a quick, easy 1 week read if you do it right, and a lot of actionables that can give people immediate steps. Others are obviously Grant Cardone and things of that nature. His $1 Million or Millionaire Playbook, the pamphlet, was another one that created immediate actionables, and I still listen to it on Audible from time to time when I know I need to go back to it and there was something else I forgot, and go get those, you know, tidbits from Grant. And it creates a lot of short, impactful pieces that make it so that anyone can pick that up and create actionables for themselves.
I got a lot of books in mind, but I think the one that I'll say is it's called "This Is Marketing" by Seth Godin. It's a very easy read. It's a small orange book. I say that book because I'm a marketer, right? I'm a founder, but I'm a marketer, and I work on a lot of brand strategy. That's my business when I'm not doing things with Warrior Rising. But that book specifically showed me the importance of building by, with, and through the customer, but it did it in such a way that made it digestible and tangible, and it was like, yeah, this is a no-brainer. You know, another book that I really liked that I'm working on myself and like self-development, because I realized that I'm not great at sales. And as an entrepreneur, if you're not great at sales, like, hey, you need to get good at sales. I really like $100 million offers by Alex Hormuzzi, so check that one out. It's a
I
good
love
one.
that. I love that. Thanks for sharing. As we wrap here and get ready for an incredible lunch brought to you by Nevada Partner. Thank you so much, Elias. Final question, and this has to do very much with Freedom Week. As you guys have participated at different levels, obviously first event here, what do you see for anything that's been shared about Freedom Week? Where do you see the opportunity for Freedom Week to be part of this community here and beyond? More here for you, Nick, but beyond in other communities for you, Reggie.
Well, I mean, obviously, as veterans, we are plugged into the community completely. It's a matter of what communities are we not plugged into, and being able to showcase what, not just like you said, the entrepreneur market can do for Vegas, and not literally to quote John F. Kennedy, just like not that's what this country can do for you, but what can you do for the country? Is where can we be more of a service, and where can we help impact more? And I think that should be the first question: is how can we help out more and plug into Vegas more? That would be my thought.
I love that. Thanks for sharing.
I think you're doing it, and I think that's a great thing. But what I'll say and surface up to the top of what I see, you know that Macho Man. Remember Macho Man?
Mm-hmm.
The cream rises to the top.
Yeah, I love that.
Cream always rises to the top. It's about remembering who you do this for with cool people. Like everybody in this room, like it's like, oh, we got partners and we got logos and we got all this, but it's like, no, those are people. These are relationships, and we're all kind of moving towards a cause that we all believe in. You know, it takes all of us. It takes collaboration to deliver a good product or service. You know, and I think that's important. If we can just find where that is and what that is, and just deliver, just do it. You know, and I'd love to see this in more cities across the United States, because just like I talked about Warrior Rising and platoons, you know, and what we do, Freedom Week can be that banner that cities rally around.
I love it. I do have one final question, and this came to me. This came to me as
fire.
we were. Many times I get very caught up I know we all do, and this is why I want to set very strong precedents here and now. If this is about connecting, collaborating, and celebrating veteran entrepreneurs, so many times I know everyone on this stage in this panel right now, we very much get behind the initiatives of other organizations, and we fail to promote ourselves. Guilty. I'm actually going to jail for it after this. That's how guilty I am. But I want to change that now, because if all we do this week is we find another veteran-owned business and I can throw them up on a panel, I can throw them up on a slideshow, I can go live and tell people to go eat an F and egg on the west side, whatever that is, I want to give you guys each the microphone to say who you are, what you do, and if people can connect with you in your business, not the organizations. I'm gonna let you hit hard on that and say if they're struggling with this, looking for that, you know, and what you do. Please edify yourself so we can take care of ourselves first.
My name is Reggie Ordonez. I'm the founder of Ford Brands. I'm a brand strategist, and if you don't know what that is, because sometimes people don't, right? I take your brand, I look at who you serve, I look at the customers in a very in-depth way, and I help you do that. I look at the competitors and who's already in your space, who's already trying to serve the exact same customer that you serve. We put that in a blender, and I start to see where the gaps are, you know, and so what is it that your customer genuinely, wholeheartedly, and genuinely wants that they're not getting in the market right now? Once I understand those things, we're going to position you in the market. And what positioning is it forces a choice. It says, if you want them, then you go there. But if you want this, then I am your person. I help you identify that, because if you're trying to build a message and you're trying to write ads and you're trying to do all these things Facebook posts and Facebook ads before you understand competitor, customer, and position, you're just burning dollars. And so when I understand your position, we craft a message. And when I understand your message, your position, your competitors, and your customers, now I understand where your touch points need to be. And touch points are email, social media, where they are in their buying journey when they go to your website versus you closing a deal. It needs to be consistent, on brand, and on point. That is not logos and fonts. What it is it informs logos and fonts. Though it's never a bad idea to work with a brand strategist if you're launching your business or if you need to go back and revisit what you do. I work with organizations that are multi-million-dollar organizations and do this work with them, but I wanted to be more accessible to entrepreneurs, so I created an on-demand version of guiding you through this process, DIY. Always a work in process, always growing. And I'll
No, with Tower Training Academy, which is still the legal name, we now are operating as, speaking of branding, we changed up a little bit to Technical Training Academy. So what we do is we help change people's lives, transform your world is what we say, with renewable energy careers, whether it's the apprenticeship for wind turbine technician or battery energy storage technician. These are careers that after 3 to 4 weeks of training, these individuals will now start jobs that are $60,000 to $100,000 a year. So that is life-changing right there. Also, I partnered it with my other company, IFC, Infinite Fidelis Consulting, which is a nonprofit, to help out with all of the actionables and follow-ons afterwards. They do a lot of the soft skills, so resume writing, interview prep, making sure LinkedIn doesn't look like Facebook. One of the big ones is the job placement assistance that I said about earlier. Then also we've partnered with PBS and a few other local entities that allow for follow-on training if they want to get their CMP, PMP certification. We also partnered with a referral program with CSN so that people that graduate from the program can start working on their degrees. Because what I do not want to do is just say, here's a job, wish you the best of luck. I want to be able to create something that was similar to the military for me, which is when you're an E1, you're being prepared to be groomed to be an E2, E3, and E4. I wanted that to be similar in job space because coming from the National Guard, I'd seen where people clock in, clock out, and wish you the best of luck. If you want to play the climb the ladder game, you got to figure it out on your own. I want to be able to give people a resource to go to that could help out with that, and so that's why I created the nonprofit to be able to give them access to that. And that's what we do with IFC, Infinite Fidelis Consulting, and then also Technical Training Academy.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that. Perfect. If we can get a nice round of applause for our panelists who told them it was going to be super softballs, and I hit them with some haymakers. But that last one's probably the hardest thing to do, right? So, I got to talk about my business. I'm just here for the orgs. I want to say thank you so much to all of our partners who made today happen in the official kickoff. At this time, I am going to pass the torch to turn everybody loose to some great lunch. But I would be remiss if I didn't also say thank you guys so much for coming. Reggie, I know you came in from out of town, so very grateful to have you here, along with some other great key people here in the community that are going to keep this initiative moving forward. So if you see something, say something. If you see an opportunity for me to connect with another veteran-owned business, I would love to do it. If at best I can help them connect to other resources. But at the same time, if I didn't edify what I do, then I wouldn't be putting my mask on as well. And for me, a lot of the things that I do is I help create businesses and organizations establish a better footprint through live events and community building. But at the end of the day, I hit a whiteboard. I'm a gun for hire when it comes to very specific strategy to help veterans, not just veterans, but all business owners, get very clear on their offer, get very clear on the pricing, very much understand the marketing channels that are going to be the most effective for them where they're at and help them accelerate their business. So you can learn more about that at davemeansbusiness.com. And without further ado, we're going to